Well then, let's take a look at how well the forge fared at Pennsic.
I'd say it fared reasonably well. The floor is fine. This part is what it looked like when I applied the final layer of refractory that went between these two metal halves, making sure the fit was nice and good. The doors suffered a little bit of damage, but they're fully contained, so that's no real issue. But bits of the brick that break off can get wedged in between and make it difficult to move the door, which is not so good. The other side here fared very well, even though there's an inch of the ceramic wool poking out past the metal, and the whole thing's slightly flexible, but it's all more or less stayed together as a shell. Now the upper doors suffered more damage, especially this one. You can see I had some thin slices there and I wanted to see if the refractory cement would be enough to hold it in place. Answer, no. Now right here is the real issue. If I try to lift it, is this loosened? There we go. Well, I guess it's not moving at all right now. It has some motion, but there's a couple things gone wrong with it, so I'm going to pull it all apart real fast and go over what I find as I do.
So the issues with the functioning of the doors really fall into two categories. There's what happens when you get it hot, and there's tolerance. So the first time it got hot, the posts moved quite a bit. With all that welding, there was a lot of stresses left in the metal, so those shifted and got tight and weird and misaligned. Gotta fix that. And then, just as it heats up, things expand and they don't necessarily want to slide. So the size of the pipe or the size of the post has to be changed. Now with a little bit of heat here, I'm going to correct some of the alignment issues. And you saw me sanding down the posts a little bit. That's not going to work out to be enough, but I'm ever optimistic. Getting the doors repaired here, if I had taken the time in advance to put the metal plate on the bottom, I wouldn't have had to do this. But it was good science, I guess.
Well, I let these dry overnight, filed them down, and added these in. This should be a lot more durable. It's much better, but we'll see if that lasts after we fire it. So this is the arrangement that I settled on for the burner. This accomplishes two goals. One, which is this is a much firmer grip. It's easy to detach and leave a smooth surface. And it keeps the fuel line very far away from the heat. There you can see the flexible tube is all the way below and away from the bottom of the forge. The only issue I had with it is I do get a little heat coming up through here. And what I'm thinking I might do is attach a new bracket to just the nozzle part, which is only held on with two set screws, one on either side, and basically cement the nozzle into the lining. The other thing I did real quick while fixing the doors and waiting for them to dry was I made a little plug. This fits into the other side, just pokes right in and braces up against this part. I'm going to keep these doors all the way closed up, put this in the other side. I'll see if I can melt a piece of steel in there, or, you know, make it all sparkly and burny. If I can burn the steel, then I can dial it back and I can forge weld it. Let's find out. So this goes in right like that.
Now take a look here and watch how the background gets darker. That's the white balance lying to you about the color the metal is going to be at. But watch for the sparks.
That looks pretty melted to me.
The sparks show that it's up to the right temperature. Or maybe just over. Now, the door's just locked right back up again. So, off with them, and more drilling them out, and increasing the tolerance, increasing the space they have to move. That looked pretty good, but I'm going to end up needing to do another round of it. But let's get it all apart.
There's a 90% chance that I include this conversation in the video.
And then you can actually say, and this time I wasn't just talking to myself.
Including that.
Unfortunately, the nozzle's a little stuck, so I can't just take it out. But I need to turn this so that the set screws are both accessible. The only way to get to both set screws was to take most of the bracket off.
Oh, come on. Yes.
But it worked out. You can see how much oxidation it's gotten just from a relatively short period of use. It shouldn't be doing that. That's stainless steel, but oh well. It's a consumable piece, technically. Now on that note, cementing it in place then might be a bad idea. This is another experiment that, 6 months down the road I'll have to get back to you and say, yeah, that was dumb. Because when I want to replace it, it's going to be a little bit more complicated to get it out of there. But that's okay. Now, I did make sure to leave a small air hole because I couldn't get it all the way through. And if I leave an air pocket cemented inside there, it'll explode, which would be bad. So with those sized up now, I think I went a 32nd over 3/8, which I can't do while trying to record voiceover in my head. Anyway, and that seems to work. But notice they do still hang up. That's from the doors sort of wiggling side to side, not staying in the right plane. It rotates slightly and catches. And that's something I'd really like to fix in the future. I love this concept, no question. It gets hot quickly, it stays hot, it burns much less fuel, it's much lighter, and more durable, believe it or not, than my other forge for traveling with. But I think the mechanism could be improved greatly. If anybody has any ideas on that, please do let me know in the comments. This is working for now and seems to continue to work while it's hot and after it cooled back down, so we'll go with this. Now, you may have noticed my posting schedule has slowed down a bit, and that's because to keep the bills paid and the lights on, sometimes I gotta go back and do other work, which is fine, but the more commissions I get and the more support I get on my Patreon, the less I have to do that, and the more I get to make content for you. So if you'd like to support this sort of thing, please do go ahead, check out my Patreon, drop a few bucks in there, or if you want me to make something for you, just send me an email, let me know. That about wraps it up. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.